I want to start with something that I came across on the internet. It was by someone called Harriet Johnson. I hope to God she's not some right-wing member of the Ku Klux Klan, but she wrote, "Every woman you know has taken a longer route, has doubled back on herself, has pretended to dawdle by a shop window, has held her keys in her hand, has made a fake phone call, has rounded a corner and run. Every woman you know has walked home scared. Every woman you know." The project of modernity on a global scale, of emancipation and individualism, or this neoliberal idea of individualism, by which, let's be real, this is what I'm talking about, get rich or die trying. The whole idea of get rich or die trying is something we're told can be fulfilled, often rewardingly, by men and by women. But it's also unfulfillable for many, and it leads to rage and resentment. For some men who can't find positions of dignity for themselves, they come to loathe and hate women, feminism, and more importantly, well, or equally as importantly rather, members of racial and ethnic minorities who seem to be getting ahead of them. So I want to speak to the men of my community. I urge you to reflect on the meaning of adopting and using hashtags like not all men, or any of its attendant attempts at rationale for the violence against women and girls. Our enemies are not women. Just consider the rage you feel when you see white nationalists desecrate a vigil for Duante Wright, or even the so-called counter-protest to the Black Lives Matter movement, where they use the slur, all lives matter. We know exactly what they mean when they use terms like that. We know. Not all men and all lives matter stem from the same supremacist root. Almost 63% of our service users, I forgot to mention, we work with male survivors of sexual abuse, Black and South Asian, predominantly Black, West African, Caribbean. Almost 63% of our service users witness domestic violence. The fear of retribution that could be enacted on their mothers is what kept them silent in their childhood. Now, because of a historic tradition in my particular culture of protecting wealth through the binding of clans, we see young women brought to the UK as transnational spouses. In some cases, these young women lack the protection of their own family, and they're subjected to horrendous acts of violence, perpetrated often by multiple members of the same household. Now, men won't talk about childhood sexual abuse and trauma, but some men will go out of their way to boast about domestic violence as some kind of bizarre demonstration of their masculinity. So childhood sexual experiences command the utmost secrecy in the name of family honor and respect. But the other seems to be upheld by the very same structures. De-individuation, which is an idea in social psychology that some would say is slightly discredited now, but it diffuses the sense of individual responsibility in the people who are doing it by reducing their inhibitions. It gives them anonymity. So I can't be found out. The police are never going to get involved here. It's not going to happen. So let's take her passport. Let's deny her freedoms. Number two, diffused responsibility. We all did it, so I'm not responsible for my actions. Everybody was doing it. I just kind of went along with everybody. And then, of course, group size. And the larger the group size, the more it increases the two previous factors. We've all been party to these boasts of men who perpetrate this violence from childhood. We have. But we've remained silent, or we've laughed the most awkward of laughs, even when in our hearts we knew that it was wrong. It's not enough just to ostracize the perpetrator and call him a knobhead. We have to call these people out. We have to tell them what they are and tell them that it won't be tolerated. And we have to support women to get those men out of the house. Isn't that also honor? I'm going to end by just saying one thing, and that's to the authorities. Systemic and structural inequalities facilitate violence against women and girls. Black, Asian, minority ethnic, whatever term we want to use this week, victims know the potential consequences of allowing agents of the state sanctioned to use violence to A, abuse the victim further, and to B, cause harm that outweighs the benefit of the intervention. The victim doesn't have time to ascertain if the officer is a good apple. He may or she may be a very good person. All the victim knows is that they have a badge, and that's the only way she can relate to him or her, because a cop is a cop. And we do not have trust in your institutions, and it is increasing violence against women and girls. It's increasing violence against children. It's increasing the likelihood of childhood traumatic experiences like sexual abuse. Discrimination is traumatizing. No one wants to go through more trauma.